A little quick here with the Black Knight.
What's up?
Okay, we're doing a quick cloud chat regarding what's going on with the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger here. We got a million questions and not a whole lot of answers from what we're seeing out in these articles and whatnot.
Yes. Let's hammer out the what we know first. So the deal is done and Microsoft has closed the deal. All these games are going to be part of the Microsoft lineup, and many of them are going to be on Game Pass. So what does this all mean? Plus, as long as you have a Ubisoft Plus account, you'll get access to these games. Now, this all depends on certain regions, the US, the EU, and the rest of the world. It's all going to look really different. Let's get into what we know first. When will these games launch on Microsoft? Phil Spencer confirms that the Activision Blizzard games won't be on Game Pass for months, or even, let's say, even under the Microsoft umbrella.
I guess the question is exactly when. We don't know. Nobody's discussing particulars. We just know that it's not this year.
Yeah, not this year, and everybody was hoping for this year, and as I've discussed before, no one ever does anything fourth quarter when it comes to IT.
Yeah.
They never do. So, code freeze, as they call it. And to think about this, when they start integrating games, they're going to have to integrate with not just Microsoft, but a whole bunch of other different platforms and systems, and all that takes so much time. And I say it, at least 6 months before we even see any of these games under the Microsoft umbrella, let alone Game Pass.
I guess that's reasonable. That's not what we want to hear, though.
I know it's not what we want to hear. That's not what anyone wants to hear. Now let's talk about GeForce Now and how Activision Blizzard games are going to be onboarded on the GeForce Now. If it's through Steam, if it's through any other third-party platform, when are we going to get them on GeForce Now? That's another question.
Great question.
You got to remember who's in charge of adding Microsoft games to GeForce Now. It's not GeForce Now, even though they have a 10-year deal. Microsoft is in charge of what games get added to the platform. And we all know how it's been going in regards to how many Xbox PC games have been added so far. It's been a very slow drip of games. So, yeah. I mean, we don't even know how many of these Activision Blizzard games are going to be added to the Xbox Game Pass. So we don't even know how many of these games are going to be added to GeForce Now, let alone Game Pass.
You're right. I would like to know, but it's Microsoft. I mean, their plans have been blown up recently with the FTC document leaks. I'm not going to be surprised if they're going to be either rebuilding their plans or readjusting their plans, because when people know what you're going to do, it's going to change things up. They may not go with the same game plan that they had previously.
Now, another thing is, when these Activision Blizzard games get added to, let's say, Game Pass, who knows how many of those will be, will they be able to stream on Xbox Cloud? Does Ubisoft have to get involved since they have the rights to stream Activision Blizzard games?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I want to see a document that outlines exactly what powers that means. We hear what, like exclusive rights, streaming rights?
Yes.
To me, that would mean they have full say on what gets going and what doesn't. In some places like Europe, you're not going to be able to not, if you have the game, they're going to have to let you stream it. Like that's, that bring your own game mentality there.
Yes.
But outside of Europe, those consumer protections aren't in place. So exclusive rights means exclusive. It means they decide what happens.
Yes. To me, it seems like outside of the EU is where they're going to be making their money. Since they have the rights, of course they have to allow anybody to have the rights within the EU. But outside of the EU, I want to stream Activision Blizzard games. I can do that, but I have to go to Ubisoft to get those rights, and they could charge whatever.
Sure.
Yes. So, and I think they can. That's where they're going to make their money.
See, I'm just curious. Like, is there a cap on this? Is there any restrictions? Because exclusive doesn't mean unregulated. So I want to see some details here, but I don't know. Are they even required to divulge that information? I don't think they are.
Yeah.
So we just know that there is a deal.
Yeah. All we know is that there is a deal.
Right. So, but yeah, no. The whole Ubisoft thing, it's gonna throw a wrench in the network because we don't know what kind of power they have and what that even means. I mean,
yeah, it's a big question mark right now.
Push through that they agreed to that, and well, we'll see.
Yeah, it's a big question mark.
Complication.
That I think this is the biggest thing for right now is, at least for me, does Ubisoft have to let Microsoft allow them to stream their own games on their own platform?
The thing is if I had a choice to be in or outside of the EU, I'd want to be in the EU.
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to cloud gaming.
Yes.
They have these consumer protections that are severely lacking in the United States and probably elsewhere in the world.
It seems
I'm not familiar with local law, but
yeah, it seems like the EU has the upper hand in this whole deal. Like they've got it made. If they own the game, they can stream it from from any streaming source.
So good job, Europe.
Yeah,
good job getting officials in that are protecting your consumer rights. Hopefully, the rest of us can do the same someday.
Yeah. Overall, from this, we'll definitely have to see going forward what this means. And I next year, I think the beginning of next year we'll get a lot more information as these companies will be sitting down in regards to these cloud platforms. We'll get a roadmap. Absolutely. We'll get more news other than, what the latest news is from Ubisoft.
I mean, the deal just closed.
They just closed.
But, judging by some of the media we've seen after this deal closed, Microsoft's already kind of planned for this deal to go through. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't already know.
I think they've known for a while. But to recap on this whole thing, we're going to see onboarding games next year. And from my perspective, it's going to be mid next year or maybe even later. And a slow drip to cloud platforms. And hopefully Ubisoft Plus, just Ubisoft in general, will deploy quicker. But we don't know.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes a little faster than that, just because this has been in the works for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right. Hopefully soon. I always prepare for the worst.
Yeah, it seems to be the correct way to go.
It's a big chess game.
It's too much.
Yep.
We just want to play some video games, man.
I know, right? not board games.
Little quick. It's the Black Knight. Thanks for listening to Cloud Chat.
Yep. We'll see you guys soon.